24 years.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead, Mary Ann. You've been a
Oh,
troop
that's right.
commander?
I've been a troop committee chair for 20 some years, so I still stay connected with the troop that my son was in, which that one's at a Protestant church and my granddaughter's at a Catholic church. So
That's cool.
I kind of see everybody.
Yeah.
I've had some Muslim scouts, some Jewish scouts.
Mm.
I'm lucky enough to get to serve on the National Religious Relations Committee. And when we get together, we have scouters from across the entire the United Nations of Faith, as Chris likes to call it. And it's really, really cool. I was there at one of the committee meetings when one of our members fell in the airport and broke her kneecap. And, I'm sitting there with a Muslim imam to my left, a Jewish rabbi to my right, a Baptist, Presbyterian. We've got, just
Is this
all of
gonna
us.
bother you? Do you want to go watch in my room?
And we
Take
turned
the
to
cat
prayer
with you.
all together. And it was a really, really cool experience just to be so unified in our desire to open the door for faith and to work together. It's cool.
Absolutely. I had the privilege of serving on several jamboree staffs in the faith and beliefs area, and that was a similar experience and just really a wonderful thing.
Were you at this last one?
No, I was not.
Oh, going to ask where you were at because
I was not there, unfortunately.
it was a good one, or it was for me. I enjoyed it.
It's definitely a worthwhile experience.
Oh yeah, yeah. The World Jamboree was a really unique experience too, just to see how we had so many people of faith who came from all around the world, but they said, our scouting doesn't focus on faith and beliefs. And to be able to see how it's done in North America, Mexico, Canada, and the United States was a real inspiration for them to go back home and to be able just to open that door.
Hey, Mary Ann, let me ask you a question. When you open the chat feature, can you see any of the postings? Because we each posted our names and
Uh,
contact information.
yes, I
Can you
do.
see? Oh, you do? Okay, good.
Yes.
That was a question we had if we had to repost it, but
No, it's there.
great.
Thank you.
Great. Okay. Well, it's 7:02. We'll give it another couple of minutes here. Then we'll go ahead and get started. We are going to record this because this is content we can use in other places too. So,
Will this be available on the P.R.A.Y website?
Jason, that's a question for you, obviously.
Yeah, I'm happy to take the recording and we can post it up there.
Okay.
Because
So,
I direct people to the website, and I thought sometimes people have questions, and this might be a good place for them to start out.
sure, sure. And so, Jason, just a bit of housekeeping. I'm recording this to the cloud, so I'll send you the link to it so you can download from there. Hello, Ty. How you doing?
Great, thank you.
I owe you a call.
Yeah. Ty, you're welcome to unmute yourself if you like. Okay. Give it one more minute. 7:05, then we'll kick off. Ty, can you hear us? I can see you, but obviously you're
unmute.
There you are. Yeah.
Yeah. It kept
It's-
it kept muting itself for some reason.
Oh, I'm sure I did something inadvertently. So good to see you again, man.
All right. There. I'm good.
Well, good. Good deal. Well, tell you what, it's 7:05. We'll go ahead and get started here. If the guests want to mute themselves, you can. We'll have a Q&A session at the end, where you'll be able to join in with questions or share your experiences as we go through this. But let me go ahead and sort of tee this up so that we know where we're going here. We do commit to getting you out here at 8 o'clock, so we'll respect your time. But first off, my name is Chris Carabinos. I'm the chair of a faith-based scouting organization called UMCOS. UMCOS, as you see on the left-hand side there, vertically, it's a United Methodist Committee on Scouting. So most Methodist conferences around the country have a scouting coordinator and sometimes a scouting team. Here in North Georgia, we call it the UMCOS, United Methodist Committee on Scouting. It's about 18 to 20 volunteer Methodist scout leaders who believe that duty to God is a core part of scouting, both Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts, even though most of us are Boy Scouts. We have a panel here tonight to help present this topic. We think this is one of the core things that we do, promoting and helping churches and scouting organizations organize and run P.R.A.Y programs. This is a great way to get kids and their families into the faith, into their faith walk or start one. So the objective tonight is for those of you who are interested in starting a P.R.A.Y program, maybe next fall, next August or September, we want to give you some tools and ideas to help you do that. So once I introduce folks, I'll sit back and take some notes. But Reverend Jarrett Wallace, he's on the United Methodist Committee on Scouting, or UMCOS. He's our P.R.A.Y coordinator for the conference. He is a resource for all the churches and scout units and scout troops, Girl Scout troops in Georgia to help them, at least North Georgia, to help them organize and run P.R.A.Y programs. So if you're looking for somebody to help you do that, he's your guy. Okay, so he's going to walk you through this program tonight. And along with him will be Jason Nolan, Executive Director of P.R.A.Y. Jason's dialing in from St. Louis. And so he is the guy who runs P.R.A.Y. So Jason, we always appreciate your terrific support and having you been with us tonight. I know you're having some connectivity challenges, so you're going mute there, or at least until you're ready to speak. Also with us, we have Stephen Scheid. He's the Director of Scouting Ministries for the United Methodist Men in Nashville, Tennessee. So that's where he's dialing in from tonight. And so he leads scouting nationwide for the Methodist Church, and actually is part of some global activities on that front as well. Okay, so a couple of housekeeping things. For those of you who just joined, we will be taking questions at the end. The way we'll do it is we'll just ask you to unmute, ask the question, and Reverend Wallace will direct the question to the appropriate person. But if you can, until then, go ahead and just mute yourself as we go. We'd appreciate that. We are recording this, so be careful what you ask. And so Jason is going to put this up on the P.R.A.Y website in the next week or so, if you want to play it back or go back and share it with your folks. The one last thing I'll share is Jarrett is going to refer to some tools that you might want to have access to if you're going to organize a P.R.A.Y program along the ways that he's suggesting tonight. He will email those out to everybody who's interested and asks. So if you would like to put your name and email address in the chat, we'll make sure we collect those, get those to Jarrett, and then the next few days he will email those out to anybody who's interested. Okay. So, and if there's anything else I forgot, panel, you can pick it up and clarify things going forward, or excuse me, fill in the blanks. I would like to ask Stephen to go ahead and share his comments on United Methodist Church's commitment to scouting. Stephen?
Oh, actually, just to kick us off, faith is actually really important in both Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Campfire, even in Big Brothers and Big Sisters as well. The United Methodist Church specifically supports scouting, much because we heard last Sunday was Palm Sunday. And during that moment of Palm Sunday, when all the disciples were out there getting really excited and waving, there were those in the crowd who said, "Tell your disciples to be quiet." And Christ responded. And he said, "If they are quiet, even the rocks will cry out." Scouting is one of those rare opportunities when we can take young men and young women outside, sit in the quiet, and let the rocks testify. And it's one of the most beautiful moments in the world when you're sitting there quietly and all of a sudden they look up and they just ask, "So what do you think about God?" Those moments, that space, that time, that witness from nature is something unparalleled. But we also want to give them a basis. And that's where P.R.A.Y comes in. And I know there's been a lot of rumors and everything about how the different churches and denominations work within scouting. I tell you what, there's no better place for us to put together that opportunity for them to hear a witness. And I'm really excited that we're doing this tonight because you get to help that witness grow. And Jared's got an excellent way to help you do that.
All right, thank you, Steve. Appreciate that, man. That was well stated. Feel like I was back at church. That's good. Thank you. It was welcome. Hi, good evening. My name is Jarrett Wallace, and I am the MCOS P.R.A.Y coordinator, and I'm also a local pastor in the Methodist Church here in the North Georgia Conference. That's my purview in the conference I work in. So tonight we're going to run through how to organize a P.R.A.Y program. This is, in my opinion, one way to do it. There is multiple ways to skin a cat. So, so this is a way to do it. It's probably the preferred way because it gives you longevity in the program. If you know anything about Christian education or pedagogy, longer programs have more staying power. Those quick hit programs of any sort tend to go by the wayside over time. So this is a more sustainable way to do it for our scouts, which I think is a very important way to do this program as an introduction to any kind of religious emblem program or duty to God program or any faith-based program for a scout or youth. This kind of material needs to be taken with care and consideration and with time. It should not be rushed. I want to say that out loud so everybody hears it. Don't try to do this program in a weekend or a day because it's not set up that way. And the sustainability and chances of it sticking with your scout or youth is pretty low, unfortunately. So this is what a suggestion for us how to do this. So let's go on to the slides here. This is our first slide. During the night's topics, we're going to talk about what is P.R.A.Y, and Jason will talk about that in a minute. What is the P.R.A.Y program and how it works, and then what the churches should offer and why we should offer this P.R.A.Y program to our scouts and youth. And then how do you run a successful program? Again, this is a way that we have found to be tried and true and works, but success can be defined per your context. So if this doesn't fit, maybe you can tailor it to fit your context in your congregation or group to however you see fit. And then lastly, we have some key learnings that we'll talk about that we found to be successful in the programs that we lead here in North Georgia. So I will turn it over to Jason now if he wants to talk about what is the P.R.A.Y program.
Good evening, and thank you all very much for joining us. Much appreciated. Tonight, I want to talk to you a little bit about, if you're not familiar with the organization and what the curriculum are, I want to talk to you about what is the P.R.A.Y program. So it is a series, 5 specific courses that are age specific, designed to help youth pursue a deeper understanding of their faith so that they can fortify their scouting experience with their faith experience as well. It uses and is written under mainline Protestant theology in the course material. It's not going to be specific in presentation to any faith tradition and relies upon either the counselor, the parent, or their clergy to deliver faith tradition when they take care of that final pastor review. One thing about it is that completing any of the religious emblem programs, any of the P.R.A.Y curricula, fulfills requirements for religious awards earned by Cub Scouts, Scouts BSA, Venturing, and Girl Scouts. And why is this important? Because these pieces ensure that they receive recognition and that they also apply the components and the tenets of their particular agency's faith obligation. And this enrollment is open to any young person, grades K through 12, whether they are a scout or whether they are not. So if you do find that you're going to develop a program and deliver a program, it's important to note that they are welcome. So not only is this a great opportunity to engage young people in what is happening within the congregation, but it's also a great opportunity to engage those within the congregation to participate with others, others like them, in a program that does strengthen their faith. So of the 5 programs, and we'll talk about them here, Jesus and Me is the newest, and it celebrates grades K through 1 and helps to begin the idea that Jesus was a person and that Jesus is connected to them in many different ways, as a teacher, as a friend, as a healer. So it goes through that, and generally it will take to complete it. Grades 2 and 3 program, it will take generally 1 to 3 months, but it starts to engage on a different level now that they understand the concept of Jesus, how God fits in their lives. This program was rewritten and revised in 2020, and so it has been well received. Much like the Jesus and Me program, all of the materials for the student are included in the workbook and in the counselor book. Grades 4 through 6 is the God and Family, and quite honestly, this is one of the most popular programs.
Jared, looks like Jason lost connectivity there.
Yeah, he lost it there. Yeah. Jason was talking about, the God and Family, is for the grades 4 through 6. I've taught this class several times. It's a really fun class, hands-on. And as Jason mentioned, these curriculums, these 5 levels, are age appropriate for these grades. As we all know, the cognitive ability is developing in these young people, and these are tailor-made for that. So you definitely want to adhere to the grade levels for that we have listed here, and God and Family being the 3rd one. The 4th one, if I can get my slide to advance, come on, there it is grades 6 through 8, and that's God and Church. And that usually runs about 4 to 6 months, depending on how you run the program, and that's for middle schoolers. So I've taught this class several times as well, because I work for Troop now, 457 in Alpharetta, Georgia. And this is for middle schoolers, and being in the Methodist Church, this one was pretty much easy for me. But it does talk about Christ Church and how it relates to them and their lives, and how and why they should be a part of it. And then the last one for the 5 levels is God and Life, and that's high schoolers. The God and Church and God and Life one, as opposed to the Jesus and Me, God and Me, and God and Family, are definitely for older kids. There's hardly any crafts per se. They are very, I don't want to use the word academic, but I will for lack of a better word. They are very Bible-based, which are great. I just finished the God in Life with 4 scouts weekend before last, and gave them their awards actually last night at the Court of Honor. They enjoyed the class. They actually enjoyed that time to sit and deep dive in the Bible and talk about Paul. So that one's for high schoolers, and that is for 4 to 6 months on that particular program. And then also, in addition to the student programs we have, you see the student workbooks at the bottom of the page, there is a mentor available for adults. And the goal behind that is they would walk along their students. It could be their parent, it could be another adult, whoever they want to pick for that, if they want one. And there's a book that goes along with that as well, that they can walk along the student during the programming. And they don't necessarily have to come to class every time with them, but I think it's helpful. It's kind of like in the Methodist Church, we have confirmation, and we often have mentors with our confirmands that kind of walks a journey with them. They kind of is with them the whole way, so they can talk about the things in class, maybe outside of class, and it's helped them along with their studies as they go through these processes of the classes. And then also, there's a component that we'd like to have ministers to participate in. It doesn't require much time. I wear multiple hats, and one of mine is as a minister, so I do participate in other P.R.A.Y. programs from other churches. Mainly the biggest point of that is that they just check in every once in a while to see how the scouts are doing and actually be an active part of the programming. The biggest part for the minister is, if they're available, is to do the final review at the end of each class. The way the program is designed is each scout, each participant, each youth should have a final review with the minister if possible, to kind of go over the class, what they learned, how they liked it. It's not meant to be a, hey, you failed the class kind of interview for the minister. It's meant to just kind of check in with them and see what they got out of the class. And it's kind of, in most, I've never had a scout that couldn't answer the questions that I put before them. And Jason's done a great job with the books here, and P.R.A.Y. has. They actually give you questions at the back of the books for the counselor manual to look at. So the ministers don't have to go in there and make up questions, because they'll know exactly what they covered in the class, which is very, very helpful, because the scouts will be more than ready for that. Next here we have is, why do we do the P.R.A.Y. program? For me, it's an easy question to answer. Help fulfill the mission of the Christ by bringing people to church, to bring people to Christ. That's our whole mission, right? God's mission is to redeem the world back to Him. And this is part of that mission that we can fulfill. A lot of scouts that we have, the next point is actually 17% of scouts would never step inside a house of worship if not for the existing P.R.A.Y. program. That's a very true number. And it might even be higher, I don't know. I've actually had a scout in my last two classes, God and Life, and the one before that, God and Church, that's not even a Christian. I'm hoping that changes pretty soon. He's actually from a Hindu background, but he had a lot of questions. Wonderful young man, taking both classes, didn't have to twist his arm or anything. His dad was in there with us in one class. So this program opens the door for the unchurched, the non-church, the people that fall away from the church, to get exposure to Christ's church and to Christ Himself, which is super important in the Methodist Church. We want everyone to hear about Jesus and what good He does for our lives and the rest of the world, and how we can be an active part in bringing His mission to reality, both here on earth and in heaven. Another component of the P.R.A.Y. program is why we do it is it can use to support our church's youth program with educational component. Most Sunday schools have a curriculum of some sort. Most youth groups should have a curriculum of some sort. But this can be added to that. As we said earlier, the P.R.A.Y. program can be used for scouts and anybody else in a youth program. It doesn't have to be a scout particular. It can be a youth group doing this program. And we shouldn't be inviting them to these programs. So this helps build upon that what's already there, because it's very well written. It's very applicable to their lives, and I think that they'll enjoy that. It's just getting the youth group involved, along with the children's ministry and the younger programs. I don't want to leave those guys out, but the younger kids as well can be involved in the Jesus in Me and the God in Me and the God in Family to help bolster their programs as well. And then lastly, we talked about earlier, it helps us realize the duty to God mission of scouting and our scout programs for all the components: BSA, Girl Scouts, Campfire, a Cub Scouts can be BSA, but it helps fulfill that reality for duty to mission and scouting that we have to have. We don't have to have it, but it's an extra that we have in scouting that allows them to deepen their faith and duty to God and religious emblem programming in those organizations. All right, the next slide is successful elements that we have. I apologize, my screen is, I'm missing a part of it. There it is. Successful programming. We offer 5 levels each year is what we're suggesting. That means all levels each year, preferably simultaneously, because what that does is it builds a synergy around the program in whatever context that you're doing the programming. Is it church? Is it a scout group that's out of a church? Is it a district level? Doing all of them at one time gives everybody an opportunity to participate in these programs. From scouts all the way up through the Girl Scouts, anybody else in high school, and meet them at the same time if possible. You don't have to, depends on availability for the class and the leader, but it builds, it's almost like, a key fact is that the most underutilized building in America during the week is a church building. So if we can change that, it'd be great. And this kind of program can help change that, to offer all these things all year long at 5 levels each year at the same time, if possible, will help build upon that. Another successful program element is to hold a kickoff program early October. Early October, you want to have this meeting so you can kick the program off in late October, early November. So that's a key component there as well. And this allows time, if you do this, it allows time for the Jesus and Me, God and Me, and God and Family programs to complete by early January. What that means for the Methodist Church is our church calendar has a Scout Sunday in February. It moves every once in a while, but it's usually in February. If you do start in October with this programming, you can finish the Jesus and Me, and God and Family programs by early January, in time to order your awards, in time to have a recognition service on Scout Sunday in front of the whole congregation, which is hugely important. Another program element that is successful is recruiting parents to lead the group before the organizational meeting. So you do want leaders to lead these classes, and the best option you have is going to be your parents of the scouts and attending, or youth attending the classes. So recruit them early, like now early, so you can get on their calendar, get them committed to it. You can sell them to the P.R.A.Y program and understand what really happens and how we go about doing these programming and why we want to do it. But getting them early on before the meeting is very helpful, because you can make them or allow them to be part of the meeting itself and take ownership in the program, which is hugely important because they have a voice and they need to be heard as well. And then you can form multiple groups at each level. That's obviously if you have a lot of scouts, a big group, and you can do multiple groups of even the same class if you want to, if you can find enough leaders. And the average group size will be 5 to 10 youth per group. You don't want to really go any bigger than that. It would be like herding cats at that point, if you've heard that Southern phrase before. So you don't want to go any bigger than 5 to 10 youth per group. Next one is widely promote the program. That's a huge thing. All scouts at the church, not just one pack, including the Girl Scouts, all the scouts at all, in every organization you can think of. I have 4 different units, actually 5 in my church. And we promote it through all of those units in your church, not just one. And you want to invite the Girl Scouts to participate as well if you have that in your group, or local councils. And there are your Scouts BS District and Girl Scouts again. Siblings of Scouts, as we mentioned earlier, it's not just 2 Scouts. It can be any youth of those ages that are based in the P.R.A.Y program, or grades rather, to participate as well. And then all parents, you want to promote to the all parents so they can take the mentor part of the class if they want to, or they can lead. That's going to be your best tool for finding leaders and mentors, is the parents. And you want to recruit the parents who had to lead the courses, because they're going to probably be there anyway. So why not use them while they're there? And you want to support it by the minister. Most Methodist churches now at least have 2, or larger churches have 2 ministers, maybe 3 sometimes. So if you can find out who that person is maybe over the youth ministry, over scouting, and they would be happy to help in most churches. I can't see a reason they wouldn't want to help you. The time commitment is pretty low, and there's no need for them not to help you out. And then you want to have a church organization sponsor the program if you can. United Methodist Men sponsored that one in Johns Creek a years back as far as outreach ministry. So that's a huge component. And then they actually they paid for the youth booklets and award for the cost of the participants. So it had to be a Methodist Men. It can be the church itself if there's a line item budget for that. Maybe the youth group. There's other ways in the church that have money to support these kind of ministries that we want to look into and explore, because you don't want a barrier of entry to be money. Not for a program like this. So you want to use the tools at your hand and try to find a church sponsor of some sort to help you cover some of this cost, because it's $20 per youth covers about all of it, but it can get expensive for some people that may be strapped for cash. So we want to make sure that's not a barrier to entry on that. Another last component is we want to make sure a major recognition event. This is a huge thing, because these young people have gone through these classes, they've taken the time, they've done the work, and we want to make sure they're recognized for all the work they've put in this thing over a length of time, because it is a commitment. So the recognition time frame is, we talked about the Jesus and Me, God and Me, and the God and family levels. Do that on Scout Sunday if you can, because that's a great time to do that. Scout Sunday is just for that, recognizing scouts and how they're part of the charter organization. You want to make sure that they are recognized in front of the whole church as well as the scout troops they're in. And then the God in Church and God in Life, sometime in May in church if you can, or a special unit recognition celebration. My 4 scouts did it last night at the Court of Honor. If you know anything about BSA, we have Courts of Honor. We do ours once a quarter, but some people do it every month. I'm not sure with regularity, but do it in a place that they are recognized for what they've accomplished. That's hugely important. These young people put a lot of time in it, and they makes them feel good to be recognized for the work they put in. And because of the focus of the programming, it's important to give them accolades and recognize them for all the work they put in for Christ. That's very important. Recognition method. In the early years, you want to invite all youth to complete the program to recognize them from the church. That could be a Scout Sunday we talked about. It can be a Court of Honor. The later years, you can organize a God and Country Recognition breakfast for the church to recognize all recipients. So I think Chris may talk about this later, but there's one coming up actually that you can do a breakfast to recognize all the recipients of these programming throughout the years that have accomplished something. 2 of my scouts last night actually got the 4-star award for taking all 4 classes. So we definitely want to recognize them at some point in the future for that, because that's a major accomplishment for what they've done since they were Cub Scouts, basically. So again, recognition is a huge part. You don't want to leave that out. You don't want to just mail them their medal or award and call it a day. You want to recognize them and then the public in front of other scouts and families and church members. So here is one of the tools that Chris talked about earlier. This is the flyer we talked about sending out. This is something you definitely want to use, or a version of it. It's a Word document, so you can change all the pictures, you can change all the verbiage. This is how you see fit based on your programming for the organizational meeting. This is something you want to send out a lot, because you want the organizational meeting to kind of be your kickoff meeting for everything. So if you'll put your email address in the chat, if that's possible still, then I will email you this form. Again, it's a Word document. You can put your church name in there, the dates you're having the meeting, and then the when and where, and you can it's self-explanatory, to advertise the organizational meeting to drum up support for the meeting through your church. So I can send this out. You can use it for however you see fit. The next tool that we have accessible to you guys is what we call a grouping tool. This would be used at the organizational meeting to basically sign up your scouts, right? This is the God and Church page. It's a multi-tab Excel spreadsheet. This is the God and Church page where you'll sign your scouts up. You can see we got the scout, the grade, the troop number, what group they're in. Say you've got 10 scouts and you think 10's too many, you want to do 5 per group, then do 2 different groups of God and Church with group 1 and group 2. You want to have their address, their phone number, their email, so you can keep in contact with them. And then the mentor or parent, you put your leader in bold, the person that's leading it. Hopefully it's one of the parents. And then you check off they received the book, they're at the kickoff meeting, and then any notes you have to have, do they need a mentor booklet, whatever. Pretty self-explanatory, typical spreadsheet. The cover sheet for this whole Excel spreadsheet is actually kind of your summary of what scouts are in what group of all the 5 groups. So again, I can email this to you as well for your use in keeping track of who signs up for what at your organizational meeting. So you want to, the program responsibilities is secure the congregation's approval of programming in the spring. You want to make sure your church is buying into this, because they can help you sell the program in the church. So you want to make sure that they approve it. I can't see a reason why they wouldn't, but because it is a great program. It's well written. The great resources through P.R.A.Y. I mean, wonderful resources. I've used them a lot, actually. Jason himself is a great resource. So you want to secure their approval in the spring, like right now, if you're going to start in the fall. Get that ministerial support online. Find out who that minister is that's going to be the key contact for the P.R.A.Y. program and for scouting particularly, and get them to help you advertise this, to talk about it with the youth group, with the scouts, and get their commitment to help you with the final review as well, because that's important. And also let them be a part of the recognition to the scouts, because these young people hold these ministers. They're like on a higher level sometimes. So we want to make sure that know they're just people like everybody else, and that they do recognize the time and effort that students put into these classes. Then you want to schedule a kickoff meeting for early fall. We'll talk about a schedule here actually in a minute for October. That way you can go ahead and plan it now for a date to get the information out with your flyer to your troops, to your district, to your church, whoever you want to send it to. Again, send it often and early so you can get that meeting kicked off and have plenty of scouts involved, and ask her any questions early in advance of the meeting itself that may be, hey, how long does this take, and things like that. Again, program kickoff meetings early and often. Can't say that enough. People get inundated with communication nowadays, with emails, with mail, spam, whatever you want to call it. But I found in my career and in my life, you can never over communicate. If somebody's going to see it, at least if they see it one time, is all it takes to get them involved in the programming. We talked about creating that flyer that I will send out to you guys and send it out to your districts and to your church and your Girl Scout circle levels, anybody you can think of that may want to be part of this programming, Scout or not Scout related. I'm actually probably going to do one at district level this fall myself in the Etowah district here in North Georgia. So I'm going to send it to them and get that thing going for the fall, and hopefully get multiple troops and packs involved in the P.R.A.Y program this fall. And then you want to put it everywhere. Put it on websites and the list above. Put it in your Facebook. If you got a church Facebook page, you got a troop Facebook page, you got a district Facebook page, ask them to post it for you. Put it everywhere. And you want the email flyer to your scout leaders in the districts and the councils and the circles. You want to make sure that gets onto them, all of them. Just again, wherever you can think of to post this if you want to have this meeting, to make sure that people are aware of it. And you want to send emails in May, August, and September is what we're saying here. So that's coming up pretty fast here. So this is the coordinator responsibility still. United Methodist Men group support. If you have them, you should have. If you're a Methodist church, you should have some component of that. If you don't go through, you can go through multiple levels of Methodist church to get to the organization. Obviously, Steve's a part of it, so he can help you there. But there's multiple levels in the conferences. Of every conference has a level of it. It just tiered up, right, all the way up to Steve. So you can use them to help you support this as well. See if they want to help you fund the program at your church level or district level. And you want to recruit 1 or 2 parents as group leaders before the kickoff. We talked about that, getting leaders early. I think that's important because they need to own the program. They need to be part of the initial kickoff meeting, help coordinate if they can from their group level. That's hugely important. And then you want to pre-purchase your booklets for the youth facilities and mentors, coordinators, counselors. I've ordered books. It's a week and a half to get them, but you don't want to wait till the last minute. I've got myself in that position before, unfortunately. I speak from experience. Don't wait till the last minute because you're scrambling trying to figure out what the heck you're going to do at the first meeting. So don't be like me, I guess is the word I'm looking for there. Coordinator responsibilities, you conduct the kickoff meeting. When we say coordinator, we don't necessarily mean the person teaching all the classes. This is a person that kind of is riding herd over the entire program for the organization, that kind of administratively looks after what's going on in your context. So that's the coordinator that we're talking about. Managed program, you want to be no more than an hour because people, I think there's a phrase that the mind can only absorb what the tushy can take. Yeah, you don't want to sit there more than an hour. You're going to have a minister start with a prayer and communicate the church's support of the program. I think that's important in any context, particularly Methodist Church. We always want to start and end with a prayer if possible. During the meeting, you'll explain the P.R.A.Y program, how it works, the benefits, and the commitment. We talked about that in the slide. By the way, Chris, we're recording this now, so we should be able to send this slideshow deck out as well if you guys find it helpful.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
You answer your question before needing more information before signing up. That's why you promote it early. There may be some questions that that a particular person has about in their situation that you can answer early that you don't have to worry about during the kickoff meeting, so you can handle more generic stuff at the kickoff meeting. But it's always good to advertise early so you can get questions knocked out. I think if people have the answers they're looking for early, they're more apt to sign up. And at the kickoff meeting, you'll sign up youth leaders and mentors and collect money if needed and hand out the books. So that's always a good thing. It's kind of like a Cub Scout roundup, if you will, in my world. You'll sign them up and get their money. When people have money invested in the program, they're more apt to continue on with it. So unless you're having a scholarship program of some sort, then obviously you wouldn't collect that money if you're doing it that way. And then also in the meeting, based on who signs up, you can go ahead and group your participants in the program group. Like we said before, if you 5 to 10 members per group is what you're looking for. Or you can do 2 groups of 5 if you have 10 people. But at that meeting, you can do that once they sign up. And that may be good because they may come together. So you know who's together in different troops. And you can recruit leaders for each group, have them select the first group meeting date. So hopefully you've got leaders by the kickoff meeting, but if you don't, you can recruit them there and then start talking about when you're going to have your first meeting or when they're going to have their first meeting. And then that's the document that's signed up by group. That's the information we talked about in that Excel spreadsheet. So you can, after the kickoff meeting, you can still take signups because you got a couple weeks based on our calendar before you have your first meeting. So maybe take signups via email. So maybe you keep advertising after the kickoff of what's going on. Maybe it's a modified version of the kickoff flyer, but you can still take signups after the kickoff meeting. So the coordinator responsibility also is to coach the group leaders or the counselors to ensure they deliver a good program. You want to make sure you give them the right tools. Jason's in the organization. P.R.A.Y's done a great job with the curriculum. I think the first time I taught it, I had no preparation at all. Just kind of went there and opened the book, and it was very, very easy to do, and it's very well written programming. Make sure they know where the resources are. The PRAYPub.org is their website. They have all kinds of resources there, including the craft cutouts, the questions. I can't even begin to list the stuff on the P.R.A.Y website. It's a lot of stuff, and it's very, very helpful. So you do want access to their P.R.A.Y website, and it's easy to navigate through. No problems at all there. To all the tools you need to make a successful program. Big one here, stay in touch with group leaders throughout the course. As the coordinator, don't just say, hey, your first meeting's October 15th. We'll see you in February. Do not do that, please. They will not come back and teach again. So we want to make sure that you support your leaders and your teachers throughout the course so they have the tools they need, and just check in with them as they go through. Make sure the minister knows either through you, the coordinator, or the group leader, when they're going to have their last meeting or how they want to do their final review. I've done them before, and it's a one-on-one with obviously an adult nearby that can hear what's going on because our BSA has rules for that. But you want to make sure they know where they got to be to do this and how many scouts are going to be talking to. It's not a long conversation typically. It could be 10 to 15 minutes to cover the material. Make sure they have understanding of it, but make sure the minister knows that what they're signing up for. Expectations, we talked about that. Collect program completion forms for each group leader within a couple of days of the last session. There's some papers and forms at the back of each student workbook that they have to fill out. Jason, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of this stuff's done online now. I do all mine online. I don't think I filled the paperwork at all. It's all online, and all you have to know is the student's name, their address, their church, their denomination, and what program they're in, obviously, and then what awards you want to buy them. Again, you can go on the P.R.A.Y website, and there's all kinds of stuff you can buy them for awards. And you want to make sure that you get them the right ones, first of all, for the programming, and then whatever you want to give them, a medallion, a pin, a neckerchief. There's all kinds of stuff, cool swag you can give them. So this one is if you want to have the Scout Sunday, make sure you order your awards early. Again, it's about I would say give them about 2 weeks, 1-2 weeks. Don't make P.R.A.Y scramble to get stuff to you, or you don't want to pay expedited shipping. Make sure you give yourself ample time to order the awards. I don't know if I'd order them any earlier than that in case somebody drops out of the class. You don't want to have something stuck with an award there. Another, our coordinator responsibility is coordinate Scout Sunday, organize your church, and some type of recognition. So you want to talk to, as a coordinator of P.R.A.Y, you want to talk to the chaplain of the troop or whoever your charter org rep is for your church. to help them understand what you've gone through with P.R.A.Y. and how this is structured, and that they can recognize them during the Scout Sunday service for those younger scouts. And then when you have these recognition services, make sure you recognize the youth and adults who helped. On the P.R.A.Y. website, you'll see that there's actually awards and certificates for the mentors and counselors. Actually, I've got 4 pins here. You can't see them on the camera, but I've got as counselor pins now on my uniform. It's important the adults are recognized as well for their helping in the program, because they're people too. We want to be thankful for what we did. And it's cool to give them kind of a surprise them really with some sort of award. I just usually we do surprise the adults with something, a pin or a certificate or a neckerchief or something like that. So that's pretty cool to do that for the adults, because they'll keep coming back too if they're appreciated. So here's a sample calendar for you. So April, which is what, 4 days away, you want to set your kickoff meeting with the church for early fall. So you want to go ahead and schedule that with your church and get that on the church calendar. A lot of things happen on the church calendar, so get that on church calendar. Create your flyer that we talked about. Go ahead and get that ready to go. In May, you want to send out your flyer, like we said, to everywhere you can think of that's scout friendly, church friendly. That get it out there to your BSA councils and districts, to your Girl Scout USA circles and committees. Share that flyer with everybody on social media, websites, however you can get it out there for your kickoff meeting. Again, we're talking about the flyer. This will be for the committee chairs for your scouts. Also, we talk about the unit calendar. So any calendar that you have for your BSA, we have district calendars and stuff. Get it on there too. That way people can see it and sign up on there too. July, hey, look at there. Send the flyer out again. Early and often. We can't say it enough. Go ahead and start finding your parent leaders for the class. That's important. Early. And then August, send the flyer again. Keep looking for leaders if you don't have them yet. September, send that flyer again. I know it sounds like a lot, but you can never over communicate really anything. It's still finding your leaders. Start sign-ups via email if you have those. People start signing up early, they'll let them sign up. They already know what P.R.A.Y. is. If they've already taken one class before, they want to go ahead and sign up, go ahead and sign them up. All right, October, you want to hold your kickoff meetings sometime in the first Sunday of October. Start forming your groups. You're going to wait about 2 weeks to add up signees, post signups for after the meeting, because they may not come to the meeting. So you can still get them in there. And then weeks 3 and 4, you want to start their meeting times for all the groups if you can. And then November, December, groups are meeting on their own timing, however they set that up. In January, groups are still meeting, but the younger program, Jesus and Me, God and Me, and God and Family, will finish up their program. And when they finish up with all the people that took it, go ahead and order your awards for those. Again, it'll take 1-2 weeks to get your awards in from Jason and P.R.A.Y. And then February, that's when you recognize your younger scouts for Jesus and Me, God and Family. Recognize your scouts and your adults who participate in the program. And then your God and Church and God and Life groups are still meeting. March, there's God and Church and God and Life are still meeting. April is still meeting. And then in May, they should finish their programming for God and Church and God and Life. And then you can hold your own program recognition. However you want to do it, you can do it during church if the ministers will let you do that. Again, courts of honor are a great place to do that as well. The whole scout family is there. The church is not so much involved in those, but to each his own. However you want to do that to recognize them, but do something to recognize these scouts, because it's a pretty major event for the commitment of time they've taken to do these classes. Key takeaways is offer program annually, same time each year. I think if you get something on the calendar and we stick with it, people are more apt to keep it on their calendar as well. So annually. Assign a program coordinator. So if it's not you, find somebody who wants to own this P.R.A.Y. program for your troop or your district or your church, and let them massage it, do it how they want to do it. Often and early. So we want to start advertising the kickoff meeting and the P.R.A.Y. programming for your context. Early. Start like in 4 days if you can. Recruit group leaders from interested parents. You need to do that pretty soon and early, like we talked about, also because it depends on how many groups you have. Say if you're going to have like 6 or 7 groups, then you've got to have 6 or 7 leaders. So you want to make sure that you and you don't want to do it all yourself. Don't try that, please. That's a recipe for disaster. Make sure you recruit some leaders to help you with this stuff. As a coordinator, I'm hoping you're not teaching, but if you have to, you have to. I understand. Getting volunteers is hard sometimes. But try to get some group leaders, particularly from the parents of the scouts that are taking the class, or parents of scouts who've taken the class before, and maybe their scouts aged out, possibility. And then talk to your minister about attending at least one meeting for each group. That'd be hopefully the final one or a final review. You want to complete the Jesus and Me, God and Me, and God and Family programs by June 15th, if possible, for Scout Sunday. Recognition, we talk about recognizing church service. Make sure that's a big thing. Please don't overlook that. These scouts deserve recognition for all the hard work put in these classes. Scout Sunday for the younger scouts, and then a court of honor or church service for the God and Church and God and Life scouts. So encourage parents to talk with the units who recognize. So you make sure we talk about how we can recognize these scouts and recognize the parents as well. So here are the resources, praypub.org. Again, I can't speak enough about their website. It's great, full of resources. All the craft supplies, I think, are there. All the cutouts that are in the books are all there. Teaching aids are there. All kinds of things that you need to be aware of. So please look at that website. It's very, very helpful. And then you have the umcu.org scouting, so use that website as a resource as well. And then lastly, I think I put it in the chat, but there is my email and phone number. That's my cell phone number, and then Jason's number and email as well for any questions you might have how to organize a P.R.A.Y program for this coming fall. Chris?
Nicely done, Jared. Boy, right on time too. Very good. Couple housekeeping things here before we open this up for our Q&A. First off, so you've got the contact information from Jared and Jason there. Stephen and I have put ours in the chat stream very earlier on, most likely maybe before you joined. So if you'd like to reach either one of us, you can scroll to the top of the chat stream and have our contact information. One thing also I'd like you to do, if you don't mind, is in the chat to everyone, put what city and state you're in. We're talking to Mary Ann, who's up in Virginia. That was nice for you to call in. It'd just be interesting to see. I know we have St. Louis and Nashville here as well. So I think that'd just be fun. You can, to ask questions, you can either unmute yourself and ask Jared or any one of us directly, or if you if you don't want to speak for whatever reason, you can just put your question in the meeting chat as well. So we'll go ahead and take questions now. Okay, and excuse me, Danielle, I see that you only see options to send to 4 adults directly. I apologize for that. Go ahead and send either Jared or myself questions, and if it's me, I'll just relate. Go ahead and send it to Jared. Make it easy, that way he can pull them up and just read them from there. Okay. So while we're waiting for a question or two, Ty, I didn't realize you'd moved to Concord. That's pretty cool. Nice. Okay, one of the questions I'll ask you, Jarrett, one is when I've led this program in the past, people say, why should we offer this every year when my child can only take it every other year or every third year, depending on, and I know you sort of touched on that, but if you could sort of address that a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, we're creatures of habit. People are in general. So having a church calendar, having a district calendar available to all people that want to take is important. Yes, you can't take it every year because you've already taken, God and Me. You got to wait until you're at the next group level to do that. But yeah, having on the calendar as an event that is going to be there every year can help me make decisions as well. Say I can't take it in first grade, but I can take it in second grade for whatever reason. Maybe there's something else going on. I think it's beneficial to have it on the calendar every year for these groups that they can pick and choose then. Say, hey, I'm going to be in 4th grade in 2 years, and I can go ahead. I know it's coming around. I don't have to find another source for doing this. So it's hugely important. I think we're creature of habits to do that, Chris.
Okay, great.
We got some questions now coming in on the chat. You see them, Chris?
No, they may be going just straight to you. So
okay, they are to me. Are there items references in the stream? I think I heard something about that. Can you be sent? Yes, we will send you that. This is from Danielle. I'll send you out the flyer, the generic Word document flyer for the kickoff meeting. So I'll send that out as well as the spreadsheet for grouping during your kickoff meeting. Doyle had a question. Is it possible to incorporate a class meeting element for the older classes? A class meeting. What do you mean, Doyle, by class meeting?
Go ahead and unmute Doyle if you want.
I can do it. Doyle, you there? Doyle, I think you're unmuted. What was your
Yeah,
you said class meeting? What is that? Oh, wait a minute. He may be typing. Oh, no microphone on the computer. Is it possible to incorporate a class meeting element for the older classes? Well, you're meeting together. Is that your question? It is a class already. It could be 5 to 10 scouts in your meeting. So it's a very much a class meeting. The old timely Wesley tradition. Steve, what's he talking about? You're laughing.
It's not that old timey, man. Just saying. We still do it all over the place.
So I've got a question for Jason. Is Jason still with us? It looks like he may have lost connectivity.
He may have lost
There's
connection,
a
yeah.
question here. Is there a plan to update the other age groups? And that's from Ty. I'm going to guess that's for the P.R.A.Y program.
But
Stephen?
the answer is yes. The refresh has actually been working its way, starting with the Jesus and Me rollout, and actually has been working its way upward. So there is an ongoing refresh.
Okay, good. Ty, we can see you. We can't hear you. Do we need you? Do we need to unmute you?
Okay, so I'm actually here. Yes, I was as you could tell, we're camping. The age groups, I know that they had started to update it and then it seemed to have stopped for a while. And anyway, I was wondering if there was actually a timeline on that, you know, as far as like buying material and then having to buy new material.
Mm,
So, hey, Nate, Jason's back. But I believe the answer to that is as long as that material is in stock within the P.R.A.Y store, is still active to be used. At the point in time in which the rollover to a new one, there will be advance notice that one version is being phased out and the other one is coming in.
All right. Cool.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Ty, if you buy it from a scout store somewhere, make sure it's the same version. I've gotten caught in classes where somebody bought them for me and I had 2 different versions. And that was a logistic nightmare for, I think it was God and Family. I think it was a nightmare. I was going back and forth from both books. It was bad. Just make sure you have the right versions.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yep.
All right.
So let's do a quick little poll. For those of you on the bottom nav bar, sort of north middle, in the middle, there is a button called reactions. If you click on that, you can get a thumbs up or a hand clap or some kind of emoji. So let me ask a question, and if you answer positively to this, give a thumbs up if you would. See how many people here have taught course before, any of the different P.R.A.Y courses. Okay, Danelle, Doyle, Ty, Steve, and Jared, of course, I know you have, and Jason. Okay, Mike. So good percentage of us. Great.
Nice.
And here's another question. Have you set up a program like this where you may have multiple classes at one time at your church or within your Packer troop? And so you actually have, maybe you've done this, been the coordinator, and you've organized multiple classes at one time in different levels. If you've done that, go ahead and do a thumbs up and see how many people have done that. So Mary Ann, you've done that. That's good. Okay. All right. Well, we certainly want to encourage you to do that. And hey, Jerry, got somebody else from Missouri here with us up there with Jason. Jason, Jerry, if you want to unmute yourself, you're feel free.
When did you guys start?
7 o'clock.
Which time? Because I've been trying to get on forever.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're just about at the end. We started at
Oh,
7
that's okay.
Eastern.
I'll come back later then. Thanks.
Well, no, that's okay. Tell you what we're going to do is we've recorded this. Oh, sorry, missed you. And so we're going to share this. So, by the way, if you want the items, the tools that Jarrett referred to, please put your email in the chat before you leave, and so that we can email this to you. And also, Jarrett will email those to you as well as the PowerPoint deck. Okay. So, any other last questions? I know it's right at 8 o'clock. I want to keep you guys past your bedtime. A little envious of Thai camping tonight. Okay. Well, thank you so much all for joining us, and hope to see you around the campfire sometime soon.
I currently have Thai envy right now. Have a good night.
Good night, guys. It's good. Well, good job, Jarrett.
Yeah,
Very
thanks.
nicely done.
Well done.
I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording to minimize the size.
Chris, how do I get the chat? How do I save the chat? Is there a way to do that?
There used to be.
Can't find it. I'm looking for it here now.
Yeah,
So
let
I
me
can
see
make
if
sure
I
I
can
got
stop the recording first.